Welcome to another installment of the Writer's Block. Barry Trammell here in Oklahoma City. Down in Austin, my pal Cedric Golden from the American-Statesman. And Cedric, we're here counting down to the end of winter, and we've got wall-to-wall football. All kinds of football going on, and let's go with the lead. We got word that Jason Witten is coming out of football retirement, leaving Monday Night Football's broadcast booth, going to rejoin the Dallas Cowboys. Cedric, what do you make of this?
Well, first of all, I'm thinking Jason Witten, 15 seasons in the league is enough, man. But if it gets him out of that Monday Night Football booth, I'm all for it.
He was terrible. There's little doubt about that. But even last year, early in the season, there were rumblings. Jason wasn't quite getting the football Jones behind him. He still thought he might want to play. What do you think has caused him to go back for yet another season with the Cowboys?
Personally, I'm wondering if the executives at ESPN/ABC said, look, the Monday Night Football thing needs work, and we know that you still have love for the game. Why don't you get that out of your system, and we'll see about trying to get someone else in that booth. I thought that Booger McFarland was the best of the three. He definitely should have been in the booth. He was funny, he was engaging, and he was informative. Jason Witten was just boring and just seemed out of cast. And he seemed miscast, and there was no real chemistry with Joe Tessitore. So coming back to the Cowboys at age 36, he'll be 37 in May. That's his choice, but man, if I'm his wife or his family, I'm like, man, when is enough enough? You know they've got enough money, Barry. He's taking care of his money, and he's been done very well in charitable pursuits. But man, to come back again and play football, that's got to be a crusher for the people who are concerned about his safety.
Well, yeah, and it's not like the Cowboys really missed him. I mean, they did okay at tight end and used a fourth-round draft pick last year on a tight end. Blake Jarwin turned into a decent ball catcher for the Cowboys. I just find the whole thing very interesting. You might be right. Booger McFarland might be the way to go. At the very least, it could get him off that contraption he sits on and gets in people's way. Get him up in the booth where he belongs.
He looks so uncomfortable in that thing. You know, Booger's got to be pushing 360, 370, and he's sitting on that contraption, and it just looks like he's going to fall over at any second. Like you said about the Cowboys, I mean, Blake Jarwin's good. Jeff Swain was decent before he hurt his wrist. So they're doing pretty well at that position, and it's an offense that's not really suited, or that's not built on Jason Witten, as you understand, but especially with Amari Cooper coming in and bringing more of a downfield dynamic. I think the name of the game in NFL is to try to get younger at the skill positions. They just became the oldest tight end team in the league.
Well, what I think one thing we can learn from this is a whole lot of these guys, they love to play football. They love the game. It's hard to walk away. Hey,
it's hard to walk away, and then when you get into your 50s, it's going to be hard to walk, period.
Great point. Great point. Let's get to another segment of the Writer's Block. Say what? Robert Kraft, the stately owner of the New England Patriots, arrested in a human trafficking sting, arrested for solicitation of prostitution in Jupiter, Florida. Out of all the stories that come around the pike, Cedric, this is one we did not see. What do you make of Robert Kraft getting caught up in this sex sting?
He had the nerve to go to the Oscars. I mean, this guy has no shame in his game. 77 years old. All I got to say, Barry, is Viagra is a hell of a drug. Good for Robert Kraft, but got to question the judgment of a guy who's worth $7 billion going to a seedy massage parlor. You know, that's not something I'm into. I can't speak for everybody, but if I could use just a little abstract example of it. If you're ordering pizza, if you're ordering from Domino's, why are you driving to Domino's? Aren't they supposed to deliver? I mean, I don't think there are going to be any FBI cameras in the Kraft mansion. So for him to be caught up out in the streets, pulling up at that, to one of those seedy joints in a white Bentley. Are you kidding me, Barry? I mean, what is this guy thinking? What do you think those investigators were thinking when they were watching the videotape and a white Bentley pulls up and Bob Kraft gets out of the back and rolls in there with a pocket full of hundreds? That's just nuts, man. Those stories write themselves.
Well, they do. If you work in that kind of law enforcement, you probably have seen it all. Here's what I wonder. How much does this stain the New England Patriot and the Robert Kraft legacy? You know, this is not a franchise that's been void of controversy. Bill Belichick with the Spygate, basically cheating. Tom Brady caught up in Deflategate with the footballs. You certainly didn't expect the owner to be all of a sudden making headline news, but now he is. It's just one thing after another with football's greatest dynasty. What do you think this does to the Patriot legacy?
What it does to the Patriots legacy is it's just another small blip on a gold-plated radar. Here's the thing: history is always much more forgiving, kinder, embracing of winners. If Bob Kraft was the owner of if he was Mark Davis, who hasn't won anything since his dad died of the Oakland Raiders, he'd be getting eviscerated. But he's Bob Kraft. He's got, what, 6 Super Bowl rings. Only the Steelers have the same amount. So he'll survive this. Rich men in America always survive scandals. This is a misdemeanor. He won't do one day in jail. He'll pay a hefty fine, release a statement saying that, you know, it happened. It's unfortunate. I'm sorry. Who do we play next?
You're probably right. Probably right. He will face some. He'll face some discipline from the NFL, a suspension, a hefty fine. The question is how much. That we don't know. Let's get to our final installment.
Yeah, you think about it, Barry.
Yes.
He'll get a fine. It'll be hefty. But last I checked, Bob Kraft has never thrown a touchdown pass. He's never made a tackle, and he's never run the football. The New England Patriots, as long as Belichick and Brady are running things, are going to be right where they need to be.
It's a good point. Let's get to our final segment of the Writer's Block, and let's go to must-see TV, because coming to a screen near you, perhaps in one of these new American Spring Leagues, is Johnny Manziel, because Johnny Football no longer associated with the Canadian Football League, cut by the Montreal Alouettes, who say that he's now ineligible for anyone in the Canadian Football League because of breaking of his contract. What do you make of the divorce of the CFL and Johnny Manziel, Cedric? And does this mean that the AAFL is headed to a contract with Johnny Manziel?
Oh yeah, it's really sad. Johnny Football's gone to Johnny Freefall. I mean, how much lower can you go? Is he going to be pumping gas at an Exxon in 3 weeks? I don't know, man. All I know, Barry, is he made $8 million for 2 seasons with the Cleveland Browns, and he had a chance to be one of the better little quarterbacks in the league, globs of talent, but his problem has always been in between his ears. When he was at a Texas A&M right before his second season, I was at a Spurs Heat game, and when LeBron James was playing for the Heat, and I go out to do interviews, and I walk through the hallway, and there's Johnny Manziel, and I go, "What? Don't you have spring football practice tomorrow at like 9 a.m.?" He goes, "Yeah, but I can't. I had to come see my boy LeBron." I mean, he's one of those guys who just always thought the show was bigger than the process. He's finding out now that real life is a lot tougher. He can't play in the CFL. No NFL team's going to have anything to do with him. And in about 2 or 3 months, these other 2 teams are going to divorce him too. Johnny Manziel had a chance to make a lot of money and be a successful professional athlete. He literally blew it, and it's over.
So you don't think these spring leagues, either the XFL next season or the AAF the rest of this season, are a viable option?
Oh, they are viable options, Barry. He will get tryouts. He might play in the AAF in a week or 2, but it's not gonna work out. He's had his chance. That ship has sailed. He had the shortest prime of any Heisman Trophy winner ever because he just couldn't stay out of his own way. Johnny Manziel has not learned from his mistakes. It's sad to see a waste of talent, a waste of potential. But I think in about 1 or 2 years, we won't even be talking about this guy.
Well, it's he missed a golden opportunity because the one knock on him, his size, is becoming less and less of an issue. You got Kyler Murray zooming up the draft boards. You got Russell Wilson playing all-pro football, Drew Brees. Football is embracing the small quarterback. Johnny Manziel was about as good as we've seen on the college level at doing just that. Hey, thanks a lot, Cedric Golden. We will talk next week on the Writer's Block.